Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for Marvel's What If Season 1, Episode 2, What If T'Challa Became a Star-Lord? All right, before I get started, let me take care of some business first, and then we'll get down to the non-spoiler version, and then I'm going to do a spoiler version. So let me take care of some business first. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible. One of the videos, my vast video library, and pops it up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. Also, if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'll be on live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule. I change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media there. So Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. And I have the links to my YouTube channel page, my Facebook page. And for those of you who still have Facebook, a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. All right. So I had a couple of requests from people for a non-spoiler version for basically people that are still not really into the Marvel series, I guess you can say. And this does kind of this kind of delves deeply into a lot of stuff for Marvel fans, both mainly for the comics, I'll say that much, for the comic fans, some for the movie fans as well, but it's mainly comics fans, I'll say that. So before you watch this episode, I'll say if you haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxies 1 and 2, and Volume 1 and Volume 2, and then also if you haven't seen Black Panther, those all tie into all of this as well. So those are the three movies that you need to watch or be familiar with, excuse me, at least before you actually watch this episode. And this is Chadwick Boseman's final performance, by the way. He did a vocal performance of this, and this is his last performance of ever before he passed away. And yes, it does deal with multiverse. Thanks, Raymond. You didn't need to do that. That was cool of you. It does deal with the multiverse, so that's what The Watcher is all about. The Watcher is about looking at different universes, and then, of course, giving us an alternate version of what would have happened. So this episode, of course, is T'Challa in Peter Quill's place. So and what would have happened if he had taken over there. And it's a very different universe, I guess you could say, at this point, because of T'Challa being who he is. And I would say that this is something that you're going to want to see if you are a big fan, of course, of the Black Panther movies or of the Guardian of the Galaxy movies. It actually plays into both universes fairly well, or both movie sets pretty well. And so, take a look at it if you get a chance to. So that's all I can say about the non-spoiler version without giving stuff away. So what do we got here? Raymond says, I thought he was in like 3 more episodes. I didn't know that. I thought this was his final episode, but he might be in 3 more episodes. I don't know, Raymond. Yeah. So with that said, spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video you can comment down below in the comment section. All right. You got plenty of time to walk away now. Yes, no, maybe so. All right. So this was actually just really cool. I love this episode. It was really good. I mean, I'm digging the whole what if. This is geared towards me, quite honestly. I was a fan of the what if comics back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, as they went along. And so this is one of my favorite kind of things, is just these alternate takes. I love that Thanos got turned away from his genocidal plan, of course, by T'Challa, and has joined the Ravagers. That we have a heist movie going on with Nebula, and T'Challa basically trying to pull one over on the Collector. and Nebula having the blonde hair because, of course, her dad did not rip her apart as much as he did when T'Challa wasn't there. The only gripe I have about this episode, I'll say right now, is that they put all of the voice, who the actors are going to be in the credits before the show even starts. So I kind of had an idea how things were going to go, and that I kind of didn't want. I mean, because I know who the actors are, and what characters are going to be playing, and I kind of had an idea of what was going to go down with some of the stuff here. And that was, I kind of wanted to be a little more surprised on things. Hey, mercenary. And yeah, I agree with you, Raymond. Chadwick Boseman is an inspiration to everybody. Yeah, definitely. So this whole thing with the collector, they're going after the embers of Genesis, which can basically, one seed can regrow a planet, bring a planet back to life. The Black Order is not working for Thanos, of course, at this point, because Thanos is a Ravager, and having them work for the collector is actually pretty funny, as well as having oh god, I can't remember his name. Demon Honshu's character, Korath. There we go. Joining the Ravagers, because we have the very first scene from Guardians of the Galaxy, and Korath ends up joining the Ravagers, and calling Thanos Captain Genocide just made me laugh really, really hard. So there's also some little Easter eggs in this too. We had Howard the Duck, of course, voiced by Seth Green, which I always love seeing Howard the Duck. I want Howard the Duck in a live action movie at some point. But when the collector starts pulling out his toys in order to fight T'Challa and then later Yondu, we see Cap's shield in the background as one of the items that he's captured, and Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, that he's captured in the background. He's also got Ronan the Accuser's mallet, his giant mallet thing. He's got that there. And of course, Hela's helm. He actually defeated the Asgardian goddess of death and took her helm. So, how did you like Captain Genocide? I actually dug Thanos in this. And everyone just kept telling him, that sounds a lot like Genocide. He goes, no. Hear me out on this. He's still trying to convince people that wiping out half the universe is the same thing to do. Which I thought was pretty fucking funny. Mork says, I like Yondu so much, so seeing him again was fun. Thanos was a blast, being a badass. And Batista's character taking pictures with Thanos had me cry. So that was not voiced by Batista, by the way. So Drax was not voiced by Batista. He's been very vocal about that he was not invited. And it's actually Fred Tatasciore, who is actually a well-known voice actor. He's been in Animaniacs, tons and tons and tons and tons of Warner Brothers shit he has been in. And also he's done DC Comics lore. I mean, he's done everything. So he actually did a spot on Dave Batista impression. I thought that was actually really kind of cool. They did a good job. Mark says the collector was much better than the movie version. Howard the Duck was super funny. Yeah, you didn't have Benicio del Toro's weird tick thing that he was doing with the mannerisms. He was hanging around Johnny Depp a little too much, so he's been getting those. I do agree with you. I like this version a little bit better. They cleaned up the stupid mannerisms on it. Raymond Castle says, other than Boseman, who was your favorite voice actor? Believe it or not, it came near the end there, and I knew it was coming, was Kurt Russell as Ego. Having him come in and they basically, the way they left this episode off was it could be another, what if? And because Peter Quill is working at a Dairy Queen and Ego comes to pick up his son. And as the Watcher says, it could be the end of the universe as we know it, or the end of the world, that kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, that's actually kind of interesting. That could have been a whole other what if right there. And that's what I kind of loved about the old What If episodes. Not only, or the What If comics, I should say, they had their own self contained story, but sometimes they also brought up other stories within there that, hey, I want to see that. Or they bring up an idea and you're like, hey, I want to see that. And that's what Marvel's all about is, having all these different stories. You don't need to be rigid in your storytelling like you do with the rest of the MCU. I mean, the MCU is actually set, but this What If is kind of a big sandbox, a big playground where you can go around and you can bat around all these ideas and it doesn't make any difference on the main Marvel universe. So yeah. Mercenary says, I'm wondering what happened to Gamora. Well, with Thanos not taking over all those planets and killing half the population, she's probably still just living on her planet. Yeah. I haven't watched any of the teasers, Mark, so I'll take your word for it. That I guess the Ego and Peter Quill thing is another What If. That's kind of cool. Apple Chris says, what if YouTube notifications worked? Yeah, they're overrated. That's why I have a thing like a schedule that's up on, suspendedfanimation.com. Yeah. No, they changed out a couple of things too here on YouTube. When I went in to actually start all of this, they changed the whole interface on me. And I was like, fuck, I got to relearn the interface all over again. And so I was trying to input everything. And they did a decent job of it, but it's all in one thing now. So I don't have to keep skipping around. But still, I wish they'd give us a little more notice on stuff like that. Yes, and Cosmos. Cosmos is a good boy. Yeah. They didn't get the voice actor for Cosmo, which I was kind of surprised. I guess he doesn't talk in this one. Raymond says Nebula played a sexy Bond girl with Loki mucking up the timeline. This may all be canon. It actually is canon, Raymond. Yes, because of this is Marvel Studios, and Kevin Feige says everything that is on Disney Plus is canon to the MCU. So yes, all this stuff is canon. Yes, even the animated stuff. That's the reason why you don't see Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on there. You know, things like Cloak and Dagger, Marvel's Runaways, things like that. You don't see any of that on Disney Plus because they are not canon. Dante S says so that was Nebula? That was Nebula. Yes, it was. No, it's a K, Cosmos, with a K. Yeah. Mark says Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Blech. Yeah. They gave us Ghost Driver and some really pointless hours of TV. I agree with you on that. Mork says the Collector actually fighting was really good. Like the animation for the fights is, yeah, I like the animation in this one a bit better in the second one than I did in the first one. So I don't know if there was somebody else that was doing the animation in that. I didn't actually take a look at the the credits to see what it was. I know it's the same house that's doing it, and I know the style that they pick is actually based on Saturday Evening Post Art Deco illustrations, and that's why it has that weird shadowing and stuff like that on it, is because it's actually taken from it's an homage to a certain illustration style from the Saturday Evening Post. And yeah, Korg is dead. Exactly, Mercenary. That was the other thing is they he was using Korg's arm as a fucking sleeve, as a glove. That was kind of harsh, I admit. A rather talkative Corin. It's like, oh man. Yeah. Raymond says, are all these what ifs in the same universe? No, they are not. They're all different universes. So some can be in the same universe, but they're mostly in different universes. So that's the beauty of it, is you have multiverse now that's going on, so you can go anywhere, muck along with anything. And yes, I know I said earlier, that you can play in the sandbox and not mess up the original MCU. And eventually they're going to fix the multiverse, is what they're going to do. And they're going to smooth things out to being. You'll still have some multiverse, I guess it is, but it won't be as chaotic as what's going on right now. Yeah. Mark says they don't specify it directly, but they're not supposed to be. The beginning of the show says it's like a prism. Yes, it does say it's like a prism, but like I said, I'm going back to what Fahey said. Everything that's on Disney Plus is canon to the MCU. So it's supposed to be transferred directly over to the MCU. They remembered StarLord's names. Oh, so that was the other thing too I forgot to mention. So StarLord isn't a title or anything like that. That was the other thing that kind of cheesed me about this episode. It's not a title, and it wasn't something that Yondu gave him. It was something that his mother, that Peter Quill's mother, called him. My little StarLord is what she called him. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out why T'Challa would be called StarLord. It didn't make any sense. Raymond K. Hessel says, "What's your favorite What If comic?" There's actually some spoof ones that they did, which were kind of funny. Like, what if Daredevil could see, and he's running away from his from all the villains? He's like, "Fuck this! I'm not doing that," and he runs away. It's only a 1-page What If. That one's actually pretty funny. But I think for me, it was the clone. I think I talked about this before. It's the Clone Saga, the Spider-Man Clone Saga. So, what if Spider-Man's clone had lived? And that was the one that actually has been taken and made canon now, because Ben Reilly, who was the clone, is now, I believe, he's actually Spider-Man, and Peter Parker is just living his life because he didn't want to be Spider-Man anymore again. So Ben Reilly, who's known as Scarlet Spider, is out there being Spider-Man right now, from what I understand in the comics. I haven't picked up comics, but every now and then I hear some stuff. So it's kind of funny. Okay, it went from a what if to actual, Marvel Comics. It got folded into the Marvel Comics again, and now it's become part of the comics timeline. So that's one of my favorites. Then they also kind of had this thing that went out there, and it's kind of a darker comic called The End, where they had each comic, they had every character, how they died. So like the Punisher, The End. The Hulk, The End. The Hulk, The End one is actually really fucking like depressing, and yeah, it's pretty bad. But I like those. Those are actually pretty good as well. They're very depressing. Raymond says, "Are you the only one who's not infuriated by Clone Peters?" No, I'm not. I honestly, I'm okay with it. I always thought it was fascinating that they had done that and that they had left one alive. There was a time that they actually had multiples alive. Yeah, that was another one. What if like all of his clones survived? And so like he had like 5 different clones, I believe, at one point, or 6. And that one was a kind of a horrible what if story. They didn't do so well on that one. But the original, from the original Clone Wars Clone Saga, that was actually fine. Mork says the Hulk ripens, he turns yellow and dies because he rotted. No, the if you want to spoil, I mean, it's been out there for over 10 years now. The Hulk, The End. He essentially is, the Earth is decimated. It's just him and a bunch of gigantic mutated cockroaches that all they do is they attack him all the time, and they can eat his flesh a bit, but he regenerates because he's the Hulk. And Bruce Banner is still inside of him, and he's like 200 and something years old. So every now and then he reverts back to Bruce Banner, who's this old guy, and aliens are actually watching him from like a little drone that they have going on. They're recording all of this, and Bruce Banner finally gives up, dies, and all that's left is the Hulk. And the Hulk's on this burned out Earth fighting mutant cockroaches forever. And I was like, wow, that's kind of fucking bleak. But it was good too, the way it was written. You need to workshop that one again with Apple Crow a bit more. Morks. Apple Crow, you got your workshop class going on, right, for jokes out there? Yeah. So with that said, what else do I have going on the rest of this week? I have tomorrow is going to be Titans. Mork's favorite show, Titans, season 3. Actually, this season's pretty good, I have to admit. So season 3, episode 4 is going to be tomorrow, Titans. Friday is going to be the contest results for Star Wars, The Bad Batch, for the ears and the coffee cup here. Take a look at the final episode of, well, season finale of Star Wars: The Clone Wars and see how to enter the contest for that. It's basically just putting in a comment on that last video. And you'll be entered as long as you're in the continental United States. Saturday is going to be Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week and any genre stuff you guys want to talk about, and we talk about it. Sunday is going to be Spoiler Alert, where I take, basically, we talk about anything you guys want to talk about, and spoilers abound in that one. So as long as it is out in the public and not a sneak preview or something like that, we're going to talk about it. Yes, the dick jokes do return for Titans tomorrow. Monday, I'll be off. Tuesday will be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? And this time around, it's going to be the Hugh Jackman movie, Remembrance. Remembrance. Yeah, that's on HBO Max, and out in theaters as well. So yeah, we're going to be talking about that. And then Wednesday, we roll back around again to What If? Another episode of What If? Raymond Castle says, oh my God, have you seen the Star Wars Visions trailer? It made me so happy. Yeah, it's up on, if you go to my Facebook page, it's up there. And yes, I will be covering that. That's on September 22nd, which is the day before Doom Patrol Season 3 comes out. Hugh Jazzman. Yes, it is. Hugh Jazz. Can someone check the men's room for a Hugh Jazz? I'm Hugh Jazz. It's an old Simpsons joke, by the way, which is one of my favorite ones for some reason. All of the ones where Bart calls in to Moe's Tavern. It's the Aerosmith episode. It's the episode that aired on my 21st birthday, and it was the Flaming Moe episode. And Bart calls in about looking for a Hugh Jazz. And yeah. And of course, Moe yells out to check the men's room for a Hugh Jazz. And I'm Hugh Jazz. Some guy pulls up, he's got glasses on. And pretty damn funny. What a nice young man. Yes, exactly. All right. Thank you to everybody who joined me today in the chat. And thank you if you made it this far in the video. Excuse me. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, thank you. I'm looking for Amanda hug and kiss. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Raymond. There are so many of the part ones that just make me laugh. Yes, but the Hugh Jazz one is the one that gets me the best. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the items, all the stuff you've been watching, and tries to match it as best as possible. One of the videos, my vast video library, and pops it up here just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down there. And if you want to know when I'll be on live again next week, hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there, talking to you, Marks. And you can see also what all the social media that I have up there too. So Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. And I also have all the links to my pages there as well. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to let you guys go for the night. It's a little bit smoky here, so that's why I've got a little congestion shit going on right now. It's actually very, very smoky here right now. We're in fire season again, all of a sudden. Thank you, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow for Dick Jokes and Titans. That's right, more Dick Jokes and Titans. Thank you, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, well, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may get abducted by some space aliens because they grabbed the wrong person because they don't know all humans look alike. And then you spend 20 years out in space saving the galaxy, and what happens? You got to come back home, and you may need to fight off a living planet, and it's a whole ordeal. That's all I can say. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care, wear those masks, get those vaccine shots, and take care. All right. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good night. And thanks, everyone. Good night.